evening and you're welcome to our program. This is Close Flow on NT2 Lagos Network Center, and it's our pleasure always and ever to welcome you to this program because we believe that we are both sharing quality time together. And today it's not going to be any different. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. We had early showers in the morning. I want to believe there should be showers of blessings for us here in the studio and for you watching at home. Like we say on this show, what we try to do is to put on the table, some critical issues that we believe are germane to what the Nigerian dream that all of us seem to share should be. And therefore, we call in some Nigerians, we call them distinguished Nigerians, to come in here and share their own experiences, their impressions, their perceptions, their thinking, their conclusions, and sometimes their anger or their disillusionment about these issues with us and with you. So all of us can therefore be better informed on how we can rearrange or reposition Nigeria. Today we are not doing anything less than that. This time we are talking on, we are taking on an issue that is as critical as what the next generation is going to be like, and that it's about youth development, especially the Nigerian girl child. And I'm sure all of us, we have daughters, mothers, or sisters, and you'll be very interested on this issue. And we have therefore called in a distinguished Nigerian, a double graduate, to come and speak to us about this, matter. She has also a passion for this, and she has actually spent almost half of her life, if not the entire life, dealing with this matter. My pleasure, therefore, to welcome Oreoluwa Somolu to Close Flow. You're welcome to this
program. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for having me here.
All right. Now, Ore is the Executive Director of Women's Technology Empowerment Center, W.TEC, W.TEC, that's what she calls it. Like I said at the opening, she's a double graduate of Economics and Design and Management of Information Systems. Many of you will be wondering what that is, but of course you will share that experience with us. She got her degrees from 2 Ivy League universities in the UK, Essex University and London School of Economics. She's also worked in America for a while, trying to look at the interplay, between study, work, and science and technology and all the gadgets that many of us are now beginning to get used to. Many of us who are in my generation are so scared of some of these things, whatever they are. Okay, let's go to our expert here. So, all right, once again, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what got you into this to start with first? What got you into this rarefied field, as it were, information technology, design, management, and all that. Okay, so how did you get into this?
Wow, it was a long process, and it wasn't a straight path. And when I was in secondary school, actually, my father is an electrical engineer. Both my parents are engineers. Okay. So I was always blessed to have that kind of background. My father is very into gadgets. He loves to know how things work. Oh. Exactly. So we got our first computer in the 80s, when most people, yes, we did. And what we did, myself and my siblings, we used to play games with them. I didn't really understand what you could do with them apart from
playing the games.
Exactly, yes. As I got older, maybe I would write, because I love to write stories, so I would type out stories on the computer. Then after my secondary school, after I did JAM, SSC, and the period where you're at home, you're just waiting for your results and to start university, I went to computer school. So I enrolled for a 6-month diploma program in computer programming.
That way back?
Yes, after secondary school. I had no idea what computer programming was, but it was long, and I just wanted something that would fill up as much time as possible. So I went for that, and I really enjoyed it. We started with the basics of computer, hardware, software, then we learned how to use different applications. This was in 1992. So the computers we were using, they were all desktops. The screens were black, and the font was green. That's how long ago it was. And we don't have Microsoft back then, so we were using WordPerfect to do
very ancient now.
Exactly, Lotus 123 and spreadsheets, DBase 4, and then I learned how to write programs in COBOL and BASIC, and I really enjoyed it. For me, it was very empowering. Number one, there was a sense of being able to use this tool that had seemed before that so difficult, like a mystery. And I realized that, oh, I can understand this. And then I can actually use this tool to actually do something that is useful. So for instance, WordPerfect, I was able to actually type and edit letters. Then DBase4, I was able to create databases, and then Lotus 1, 2, 3, do calculations, kind of like, what you do with Excel now. So it was really empowering. After I finished my diploma program, our family had a business.
Okay.
Our family had a business, a bookshop. So I decided that I would create a software program to help track the inventory. And of course, being my first attempt, it wasn't so great. There were lots of
but that was amazing.
But yes, I mean, it was a project that I sought to achieve. I was like, I'm going to do this, and I got to work to a certain degree, and then I got admission to university, so I left it. But that gave me the first taste of how useful computers can be for everyday life. That it wasn't something that is up there for a certain group of people. That is for everybody. So I went to university. I was studying economics. That's what I got my my first degree in. And when I was in university, I had a laptop, and then I set up a business typing essays for other students. Because a lot of the lecturers we had would ask that, for extra points, you could type up your essay. You didn't have to type it up. You could write it by hand, but they would give you extra points.
If you have it
Exactly, if you have it typed. So students would want to do that. But then back then, it wasn't like how it is now that a lot more people are comfortable using computers. Back then, what you do is you write your whole essay longhand, and then you now sit and then start pecking, punt and peck. So it was very laborious for, lots of students. And being students, you leave your assignments to the very last minute. So you'd barely just finish the essay. You wouldn't have time to go and, type it up. So, so I started getting customers,
So you were filling in the space.
I was filling in a space that, that people didn't realize, existed. And I really actually didn't realize how much the demand would be. But before I knew it, I was inundated with, requests. And then eventually I had to stop because I wasn't really having time for my own
studies,
my own assignments, exactly. So, but that also gave me like the second indication of how powerful, exactly, how useful and powerful, having information technology skills can be exactly. So I decided that for my master's, I was going to explore this arena further. And so that's why I decided to do a master's in information systems.
I see.
Exactly, yes.
But that was a beautiful journey. Now, let's say how we have transited, along this journey. Studying abroad will probably a little bit more comfortable than studying here. I'm sure way back that time, nobody would dare tell you to go and type an assignment. So how did you share this experience with some of your friends who were studying here in Nigeria?
I did, and I mean, they thought it was interesting. A lot of them didn't have to type anything, or if they did, they would just, take it to a cyber cafe and just, have them type it. So the kind of the same principles kind of obtained here and there. One thing I realized there was that my university was well equipped. We had, several facilities, but they were not really well utilized. Only if you went to maybe like the engineering departments would you find a lot of the students in the computer lab using. But then the other computer labs really, they were mostly empty. So I would go there and I could be there all night because I just loved, it was like a whole new world for me. You sit in front of the computer, you go to Yahoo or whatever search engine, it was mostly Yahoo back then. Anyway, and just, type in a search term and then it will take you to some, exactly. I could spend hours in front of the computer just looking for information.
But that again was what kind of, mind-blowing for you. I mean, it opened up your vista, your vision, your thinking and all that, and enhance your ability to therefore deal with issues.
Yes.
So, do you think that our own students here must have lost some, don't you think so? They must have lost something to not having these facilities, studying that kind of environment here?
Well, I mean, I think that definitely there is a certain experience that you miss out on when you don't have that opportunity to find out about other worlds. And you don't have to travel. People always say that travel is like, a horizon broadening experience. You don't necessarily have to do that nowadays because you have, access to the World Wide Web. Exactly that. So you can find somebody who has never left Lagos, but they know so much about what goes on around the world. So there is a certain experience that you lose if you don't have access to these tools. I think that also in terms of our educational system as well, that was one thing that I realized, especially as I went on to my master's level, where you're expected as a student to think critically. And for me, my training so far had not really prepared me for that. A lot of my educational experience had been in terms of cramming,
just pass.
and then exactly passing. Or, it's important to understand the principles, but sometimes, I found that maybe some of my teachers were not so, it was basically, this is not what I told you in the class. I want to see what I told you. Where was this in the notes? So if you decide to be a little bit creative and do some extra reading, it was not always appreciated. So I feel that there is also a certain aspect where students are not really encouraged to think out of the box and be creative. So
now, I haven't done so much work abroad. Okay, let's look at your experience in America.
Okay.
That's quite different from UK.
Yes.
Yeah, so you did a little bit of, was it pro bono? Did you do it free of charge?
Okay, so when I moved to America, I was doing a certificates course for the first year, and then after that I started working. So I worked for a non-profit organization in Massachusetts, and it was a non-profit organization focused solely on education. So education at different levels, formal, informal, primary, high school, middle school there, tertiary level. So I always worked within the space of gender and technology. So my very first job there, I was working as a research assistant, and I was working on a research project where we were looking at how men and women use the internet for learning.
Amazing.
And
so what did you discover?
Yes, we discovered that, obviously, we were looking in that particular project, we were looking at a group of teachers, and we found out that the way that they used, we were looking at it through an online course that we had designed for them, and then we would observe their interaction, their communication, and then we would analyze that. We found that the women were very conversational in the way that they related to each other, and we found that a lot of the men were more, let's get straight to the point. Okay, this is what we're discussing. This is the question. This is the answer. So we realized that for a lot of women who were exposed to these tools, they quickly embrace the social aspect of it, that they can use it to not only get information,
but to make friends,
to strengthen existing relationships and networks that they already had. And that's something that eventually we in W.TEC tried, translated in some of our programs, where we try to highlight the social network building aspects of, information technology.
Yeah, right.